So first of all, a very good good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are, wherever which place you are in the world. And yeah, thank you for joining at this great virtual event, and as well the presentation around VDI like a pro. So in the next 30 minutes, we will present you all the insights that we gathered as part of the VDI like a pro survey. And for the folks that don't know what the survey is, the VDI like a pro survey is an survey, as the word is saying it, obviously, that gathers information data out of the VDI industry, as well as DaaS and other cloud related services based on EUC. And we asked the community, what is the status of your environment, and what is the plan, or what is the initiative to do in the next upcoming years? And we bring that back to a report, and that's something we're gonna release today. So that's great. So you all get access to the VDI like a pro survey 2020 today. So let's focus on that. And I thought it is a virtual edition, so I simulated the applause as well. So we obviously don't do that. I don't do that alone. We do it as a team, as an A team, and A team is something we all know from the past, right? And yeah, it's really a team effort that we do together. And I will introduce the team in the next slide, but we probably all know the A team from the past, right? And that, really reminds me of how an initiative and an investment of 1 year comes together in a document, and it's a really community effort. So we mostly use hashtag community power for that. So let's introduce the team. So first of all, I'm Christian Brinkhoff. I work as a global black belt for Microsoft. So for basically the Windows Virtual Desktop team, and
Hey, I'm Frace. For this time, I'm Ruben, and great to see you, and see a lot of people attending this online event. So great to see that, and happy to share insights around VDI like a pro.
And then I guess I'm up next. Yep, that's me. That's Mark. I work at Login VSI as a product manager. You probably know me most about breaking Windows 10, having trouble with OneDrive, those kinds of things. But the VDI like a pro research is really a highlight of the year.
So
he's a smart guy. He's Hannibal. He's a smart guy, yeah.
He's the man in the middle that breaks everything here, definitely. So I hear everybody thinking right now, okay, who's that guy on the right side? So we had brainstorming sessions around that. So we sort of created Alex as the person for that. So before we move on, everything in this session is publicly shareable. So please feel free to share it with hashtag VDI like a pro on social media. Make other people in the community aware of those results. With as well the mindset and the quote, without data, you are just another person with an opinion. And that resonates with what we think about this survey as well. Everything in this survey is acknowledged by the community, independent. So we did not influence anything. So all the results are accurate on what the community thinks about that. So that's really great and very valuable as well to use. And even vendors make decisions on roadmap based on the VDI like a pro survey, as I learned in the past. So that's great news. And as well, we prepared some great new questions as part of the survey. So we rephrased the questions, and we put some desktop as a service as well as cloud related questions inside the survey. So we now have a section that sort of focus on on-prem as well as hybrid as well as public cloud, and Ruben will talk more about that later on as well. Just to give you some information on how many people filled in the survey, so roughly 700 independent people started the survey, and on their average notice, they finished the survey in 10 minutes of time. So we really encourage you as an attendee. I see there are roughly 200 live people in this webinar right now. I really encourage you to help us for 2021 for making the results accurate and get more people on board to keep the results accurate as part of the industry. So just to give you some background information on the countries that participated in the survey. So this is a very fun picture. I don't know if people on the call remind this moment of the campaign of America, which said America first, and then we as part of the Netherlands, and Ruben and Mark are coming from the Netherlands as well. We started to bash that marketing term and make it like America first, the Netherlands second, which is fun, and all the other countries followed with that, such as Germany and other countries. And the reason why I'm saying that is that the United States was the #1 in like participants, as you can see, with roughly 23, 24%, and the Netherlands came as next. So the Netherlands basically rule after the United States in terms of the numbers of attendees. And I think as well the Netherlands is very strong inside the community. So I'm very pleased to come out of the Netherlands for that. And this is our country map of all the other like results that came in from different countries around the globe.
Yeah, we had 52 countries in total.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So,
yeah.
So maybe Mark can talk a little bit about what kind of roles.
Yeah, as we're asking these questions, I mean, some questions are very technical, some are absolutely not technical at all, and maybe you've seen the survey yourself. We really want to know who you are, and the thing is, we can do very cool references there. So we can say, hey, most technical people are into this, and most marketing people are into that. We haven't done that just yet because there's just so much data that come out of this, and of course, we were very well prepared, and we didn't stress to create the report last minute. But we finished it, and just to show you the type of people that are filling the survey, most of the people are, luckily for us, technical or consultant. And within the consultancy business, they're also mainly technical folks. Now, for the consultants that have participated in this survey, we always ask to look at one of your customers and fill the questions accordingly, because of course, many consultants work in many environments. If you want to fill them for many customers, that's fine. We see that they typically take their biggest customer or the customer that they're most proud of and fill the data accordingly. There's always, of course, some sales and marketing people in there, which is great, and even some end users. Last year, I still remember we had a guy that was actually retired, and just with every question he put in the remarks, not the answer, but other, he ticked other, and then he said, well, I'm retired, but I just want to see the next question. He didn't come back this year, so I guess he was satisfied. But this year, most people were very technical, and I think that's also the same with the audience today. But we also had one special guest this year. I guess we could say he's retired, right?
Yep, for sure.
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't know. Maybe the person that one back. Yeah, well, maybe the person that used this email to register is actually in the audience here today, or it could be the real Elvis, but somebody registered using elvis@pressly.com. Now, for all of you that think, hey, it's an anonymous survey, why do you guys have email addresses? Well, give away 3 Dutch goodie gift bags, and suddenly everybody gives their email address. But also we use this to invite you again next year. So we really appreciate what people feel here. We promise not to use this commercially unless somebody offers us like no, we're really not going to do that. And this was the email. Oh, yeah, there's his picture. Of course, everybody remembers him. Have to work a little bit of latency here. And the interesting thing is that we've discovered by looking up his IP address, because, anonymous survey, emails, IP addresses, we track everything. He currently lives in Belgium. So who knew, right? Elvis is alive and he is in Belgium. I hope he's on a healthy diet there of French fries. And it's interesting because I think the next E2EVC is actually in Greece. And did you know the first French fries were actually cooked in Greece? Think about that one for a minute. And with that awful joke, I'd like to give back the word to, I think, Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, that's probably the best thing I learned today, Mark. Thanks for that. So let's switch to a kind of negative thing where we all are in right now. That's COVID-19. So myself, Ruben, and Mark I used to travel a lot, just like other folks on this webinar. And yeah, it's a very negative situation. The good thing is that things are looking very positive and everything clears up right now. So restaurants, everything here in the Netherlands and Europe is getting released. So that's all positive. The other positive thing is that technology like that we use today for this webinar makes it possible to continue with virtual events. But just to help us to sort of like help us in like the change from work completely from home and without traveling, we learned about the fake plane challenge. So I don't know if people know about this fake plane challenge, but if you look on Google, you will find a lot of like articles and videos about that. So what we did is that we sort of like simulated to release ourselves from the addicts for traveling that much. We released ourselves from doing that physically. We changed that to do that at home. So we were like sort of like influenced by the
great
by the video. So I don't know how the latency or the
that's pretty good. Yeah.
So this is us right now at home.
Yep.
Or a beer or wine, could be anything. Anyway, let's go back to the topic of today and focus on VDI SBC, which we now converted to virtual desktops and app infrastructures, and as well desktop as a service and cloud infrastructures as well. So, Ruben, can you give a run over of the subjects of today?
Yeah, sure. In essence, there are three subjects. So it's on-prem, hybrid, and cloud. And compared to last year's, so we run this survey for this is the 7th year. We started in 2012 as a sort of spin-off of Project Virtual Reality Check, later Project VRC, and part of Project VRC in the early days was pure benchmarking, and then we added the survey content as well, and that's where we are right now with VDILIKEAPRO. And this year, based on feedback from past years, we made a sort of conscious decision to focus more also on the cloud side of like end-user computing around the virtual apps and desktops, and that's what we'll talk about during this rest of the talk. So on-prem, hybrid, and cloud for sure. And you can see here, like the majority of people who filled in this survey, when you ask the question, hey, where are your workload machines, the machines single user or multi-user to execute apps or desktops? Like on-prem is the majority. Like 65% of the of the respondents are using on-prem with that. Hybrid, both on-prem or public cloud or public clouds, multiple are there as well. And a smaller group of respondents are using public cloud only for the workload VM. And this is a new question. Christian mentioned it already. We have a lot of new questions, and we just have a set of new questions during this event. And you will see in the white paper a lot of like awesome also new questions. And it will be great to see next year. That's the beauty of collecting data. What next year we'll do with this question as well. One of the questions is not only looking back what is being used today, but also what's on the plan, what's on the roadmap, what's your workspace initiative? And that's a question we asked this year. And this year, the number 13%, well, we're just curious what we'll see. 13% was the highest scoring initiative for the workspace 2021 or 2020. And we'll see if we run a quick survey in this group, what you think is like the highest score for.
I love how Christian's screen turns completely green on this slide because of the monitor reflection.
We'll see. So what do you think? So we are able to run a survey. You can use your phone, your camera to go to this QR code and run this quick poll, or go to the URL as you can see here to respond on that. Let's see if we can if I can do that as well.
Exactly. What do you think that the attendees, the participants of the survey filled in.
Yeah. See if it works. You
Yeah.
can skip your login if needed. I'll go for exactly. Yeah, so no one is interested in Office 365 and everyone wants to drink more beer. That's probably the outcome. Or desktop as a service, 8% note, yeah, 8% app containers. Give it a couple of minutes.
It's interesting that except for drinking more beer, which is obvious, the biggest category here is different than what we've seen in our survey. So there is a difference in audience.
Yeah, yeah, more timing or.
It looks like this survey is completed. So drinking more beer was not part of the official answer. But
it's fun as well. Let's see, Mark. Can you explain what's high?
Absolutely.
What's the 30%?
So I'm going to try to go to the next slide, but it doesn't let me. So maybe Christian can do it. Yeah. So the winner was absolutely desktop as a service this year. Clearly, it made a jump. I'm actually pulling up the numbers on a slide here. So to give you some reference, last year the top 3 was Windows 10, Office 365, and then desktop as a service. This year we're seeing clearly desktop as a service and application container technology. We think this might have something to do with Christian's online following. So people are looking into it. It doesn't mean that everybody is running it in production already for 5 years, but it's definitely something people are looking at. And of course, Office 365. Now, the number 4 that you cannot see on this screen is actually GPU technology, which is an interesting one because it's always, you know, the 4th place, 5th place, 3rd place. It's always somewhere around there, but it never really makes it to the top. So I find that quite interesting. Like, it's just one of those things. It's continuously there, but unfortunately, it was never the winner. So desktop as a service, clear winner here. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody either. So with that, let's see, where is your data maybe, Ruben, in a desktop as a service scenario?
That's not a new question. So we're talking about cloud, so data is important. We all know that apps work best when they're running close to the data. So where is your data in that scenario? A new question. Majority are using hybrid data storage for desktop as a service, 65% in total. If you look at like public cloud is close to 15% are using public cloud only, so all data in public cloud. The next question, maybe for next year, we should also ask, hey, what do you mean with data? Because OneDrive data is also considered public cloud, can be used in a DaaS scenario for sure, but also just running the workload machines and like Azure files can be attached to that as well, which is also public cloud. So great to see that like it's all over the place, but the majority is still like hybrid. If you combine these two hybrid questions, it's like, as I mentioned earlier, 65% is hybrid, and all data in data center co-location only, 25%, and public cloud only is 15%.
Now, this is a question I get in my email very, very regularly. Like, hey, you know, we're building this VDI environment. How much memory should it have? How much CPU should it have? And I'm sure Ruben and Christian recognize this from their inboxes as well. And of course, you know, having been a consultant, the answer is always, it depends. But we've surveyed almost 700 people. So let's see what your favorite average single session memory size is. So what do you think? First, you know, grab a number in your head and there it's already on screen while Christine is taking a selfie. So the average answer for a single server VM is actually people like to have 12 gigabytes here. Now, personally, I'd like to have that as well in my desktop as a service environment or on-prem when I'm doing VDI. I don't think in reality this is what we see most. The number of CPUs, however, that we saw, and I have tried to advance one slide, but let's see if it picks up. Otherwise, Christian can help me a little bit. The average CPU number we see on-prem is, or not on-prem, in the whole world is actually 3.4. So somewhere between 3 and 4. And I have to say, this resonates better with me in practice. That's also along the lines of what I see. Now, of course, we have also filtered the extremes. So you see that there's people that are putting in there that they'd like to have 256 gigabytes of memory, but we had so many respondents that it didn't really actually change the average at all. And it's just an interesting metric. So 3.4 CPUs and 12.2 gigabytes of memory is the preferred size, perfect workload size for single user. But if we look at the next slide, we see what we have had as answers from multi-user operating systems. And for me, these numbers make a lot more sense. So what we got there is on average 8.8 CPUs and 63.2 gigabytes of memory. So again, we see some flukes, some spikes in there, but on average, it works out quite nice with what I see a lot in practice as well. And with that, back to Ruben.
Yep. So what's the cloud strategy with regards to the workload machine? So again, the machines to run apps and desktops. What's the company strategy with that? Hybrid 65%. So using public cloud and on-prem resources to run apps and desktops. Multiple public cloud providers as a strategy to run like the workload machines is 7%. And a single public cloud can be Amazon, Azure, Google, or maybe other like public cloud providers is 35%. So hybrid is winner here. But on the other side, like single public cloud with 35% as the strategy for workload VMs is pretty substantial as well. You can advance the slide, Christian, would be good. Thanks. The other question on my plate is, what product do you use to monitor your environment? We all in our space we focus on like building the best user experience for virtual desktops and apps, or virtual applications and desktops, which includes single user, multi-user, on-prem, and public cloud as a sort of umbrella terminology. Console Up is the most popular solution to monitor the virtual desktop and application environments. 13% of us in general responded to that, which is a huge increase. Like last year, if you look at my notes, last year is like a 5% increase compared to 5% increase compared to 2019. Microsoft OMS and SCOM is second with a usage of 11%, which is a small decrease of 1% compared to last year. Citrix Analytics is third, 8.5%, and VMware VROPS with 8.16%. Uber Agent increase as well from 4.69 in 2019 to 5.83 in 2020. So good to see that also like friends of E2 EVC are also very visible here, and it's a community-driven survey for sure, so that will have impact. But overall, I also see the vendors I mentioned being used in the field, and many customers are happy with these.
So I'll keep this one short. Looking at the time, in which phase is your desktop as a service environment? 22% is the winner. Most people are doing designs and proof of concepts. We saw a spike after COVID, obviously. There's also quite a few people that are already in production for a while. This is the chart as it is. There's not a lot of surprises in here, but we just wanted to give you this. So, Christian?
Yeah, so let's kick and switch over to the question: how is your environment management solution? How does your environment management look like? What solution are you using for that in your virtual apps and desktops environment? So one of the questions we asked like in the last couple of years as well is, how is the user environment managed within virtual applications and desktop environment, which was previously VDI and SBC, as I told you in the beginning of this presentation. And as we can see, it's that Citrix User Profile Manager was always the #1 in the last 3 years. However, due to the acquisition of FSLogix 2 years ago in November 2018, and the change last year on making that product available for almost every RDS and VDI licensed customer, we see a big increasement in the Microsoft FSLogix profile container usage. And that's acknowledged by the community, and that's what I hear and see as well as part of conversations I have with other people in the community, and as part of my job with customers as well, which is great news. So let's switch over to the other question.
Yeah. So who's responsible for running like the EUC infrastructure as a service? So the broker, the the policies, the image management, capacity management. That's all like part of the broker, the control plane. And maybe you can advance the slide, Christian. You can see here in the results, like 55% is responsible for running the broker as service or as software. Sorry, as software as part of their own like IT department, as their own IT service. And 30% is using in some form a broker as a service. You can call it desktop as a service. Maybe they are just dipping their toe. Maybe they're using in full production. That's another question. But the majority of us are using the end-user computing platform as software in their own in your own environment.
So then the question, which virtual applications and desktops as a service solution are you using or will you introduce? So unfortunately, some company already took virtual apps and desktops, so we had to turn it around. Let's look at the results. The most popular choice this year by our respondents was actually Windows Virtual Desktop. Comes as no surprise. But I'd also like to invite you to look at the full report, because there's also almost 11% that are looking into technologies that we haven't listed here. So let's take a deep dive there. And looking at the time, we seriously need to fast forward, guys.
So let's focus on the most important topic of this presentation. What antivirus solution are you using? So obviously, antivirus is very important, but it's not on top of mind of everybody. So just cover some information on that, on like the responses. What antivirus solution are you using? We see an increasement as well in coming from Symantec to Defender. And if we compare those results from over the last like 5-6 years, we see decrease of Symantec. We see that McAfee is pretty stable, but the Microsoft Defender solution becomes a little bit more like the standard as part of like Windows 10 as an example. So that's interesting to see. And another interesting development is we asked as well the question, which Office version is the current standard in the virtual applications and desktop environment? And there we see as part of the 2020 results that the 2016 version of Office and 2019 are decreasing, are like sort of slinking, and that the Microsoft Office 365 Pro Plus, which is now renamed to M365, Microsoft 365 Apps Enterprise, is getting more like being the standard as part of your, for example, Office 365 license, etc., as part of your Microsoft subscription. And this definitely shows that as well as part of the comparison to 2015. In 2019, we added obviously Office 2019, and we see a small increasement of Office 2019 there as well, but the big hit and the decrease of Office 2016 is something we see as a interesting point in development. So let's see how that shifts next year.
All right, in your opinion, virtual apps and desktops, and I'd love to see some comments on this in the chat as well, in 3 years from now are, most people think actually somewhat the same. So of course, there's a lot of disruption going on now in this field. So let's see if all of those people are right. I think the second group there going saying that they are shifting to multi-session. There's a point in that, but let's see what happens. Now, before we end.
So let's do a drum roll. Before we end, we have something more in store for you. And at the end of this survey, we had one final question that we asked attendees, which was an open question. And the question was, what keeps you up at night? So what keeps you up like at night in this period of time? And out of the random results that we received, we would like to share some of the fun results that we received back. So one of the things we received back out of that question, what keeps you up at night, is first, I drink bourbon. That was one, probably out of I don't know, not out of the Netherlands, but that was a fun one.
Yep. Or like my baby. Well, this is a long time ago for me, but I remember this feeling. I have 3 kids right now, 17, 20, and 14-year-old. I don't call them baby anymore. But if a 20-year-old guy comes back home at 4 o'clock in the morning, that also wakes me up. So maybe I'm still in the same boat, only different age from that.
If you want to babysit my children, Ruben, that's fine. So keeping up with knowledge. So as you guys all know, I'm an idiot, so I can relate to this guy. Keeping up with knowledge is really hard. What else, Christian? What's the next slide? Oh, that was actually for me, I see. Oh, is that for you, for me? Yes, the white paper is actually live. So if our automation works, you can go to VDILIKEAPRO.com now and actually find a white paper there. It's for free. We are going to ask for your email address. Only reason we do that is so we can ask you to participate next year. Again, we're not going to sell that to anybody. I'd like to thank everybody who participated in the survey, because honestly, we couldn't do it without you, because we cannot fill 700 surveys ourselves. It's just too much work. I'd like to thank Alex for giving us the time to present this and go a few minutes over time. And I hope you find the report useful. If you want to use data, if you want to do that, just go for it. Make sure to let us know, because we are always very curious what happens with it, and it's also good confirmation that we're actually making something useful.
And also good for next year, right? To contribute again. It's a team effort. It's a community effort. We only can do this when everyone participates, and then everyone benefits as well with that.
Yep.
Exactly.
So in the chat they're asking for the link. So it's VDILikeAPRO.com if the automation works. So hopefully it's there.
Yeah, so thanks everyone for attending. We hope to see you back as a participant, maybe as well on the next E2E event to do the release again of 2021. Stay safe, have a great rest of your day, pop up a beer, a whiskey, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.